June 4th, 2025, Town of St. John BZA meeting. At this point, let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll move on. Item number 4, May 7th, 2025 meeting minutes.
Would you like for me to take roll call first, sir?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, I skipped over that, my apologies.
That's okay.
Let's do roll call, actually.
Rudy Bambick.
Here.
John Gill.
Here.
Drago Popovich is absent. Nico Vlahos is absent. Chris Griesbaum.
Here.
Adam Decker.
Here.
Bill Manasopoulos is absent. Ashley Abernathy present.
Okay, and now we'll roll into last month's meeting minutes.
The minutes have been distributed to the board. If there are no corrections, then the board can move forward with the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the May 7th, 2025 meeting minutes as posted.
I have a motion and a second. Everyone in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. All right, we'll move on to 5, into public hearings. Item A, 2025-09 developmental variance. Request to vary from STJ MC 24-516E3. Construct a fence located at 8991 Willow Lane. Dino and Carly Metropolis. Correct. Butcher that too good. S&H Engineers and Surveyors Incorporated is a surveyor/engineer. Would you guys like to come up?
Yes. Up here,
Yep, just state your name and address.
Dino Petropolis,
Carly Kajopoulos.
8991 Willow Lane, St. John. We're looking to do a fence.
So they are located on a corner lot. They front on both Willow Lane and 90th Street. What the yellow highlight is where they're proposing on going to the fence. And then they submitted this for the board for their meeting tonight. If they were to follow the 25-foot building line, that's kind of where the fence would be in accordance with their property. This is kind of what they're proposing for it to run along their sidewalk and then go out and then over. It'd be 10 feet off of the sidewalk. The way the ordinance is set up is we do not allow for fences to be located in a front yard, so that's the reason for their variance request tonight.
Which I actually live close to the property. I don't see any safety issues. There's no driveways in the proximity to block view from,
No, it's
no.
This one is much different than the one we
two
have.
side yards on a street, so.
Yeah, I don't. Sorry. Okay, well, at this time, I'll open the floor to public comment. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Can you show the slides again? Of what they propose?
And what kind of material is this gonna be in the height?
White vinyl, higher end fence.
How tall?
6
Yeah.
foot high PVC white vinyl.
Mr. Chair, I'm going to recommend any comments need to be addressed to the chair at the podium.
Yeah, if anyone wants to speak, you need to come up to the podium, state your name and address, and then
Okay.
present your questions that way.
Michael Walls, 9300 West 90th Lane. We have the covenants here, what were probably proposed when that subdivision was built, and there was nothing over 4 foot proposed for that subdivision. As you look in that whole subdivision, there's nothing there that is like that. I mean, everything is, you want evergreens or something like that, they put it in. Now, to the east, that's a different subdivision. They have different fences, they have blockade fences, and if you look at the very beginning there at Parish, that is a 4-house subdivision. That isn't in our neighborhood, that isn't in our covenants. We're worried about what it's made and what it's gonna look like. If it's gonna look like the rest of the subdivision, which nobody has fences like that, they're allowed to put a 4 foot, like a aluminum ironclad fence, that's allowed. But as far as plastic fences, stockade fences, those don't go with the neighborhood.
There is no HOA. There's no.
Well, I know there is no HOA, correct, but the covenants are in here that were established when this was built, when this subdivision was made. And everybody's abided by those for 30-some years. Now, we want to change these? I mean, everything that's in here? I mean, can I go put aluminum siding on my house now? No, nobody has aluminum siding because it's not in here. This is what everybody built in this subdivision is trying to say. And Phase 2 is the same way. They have a HOA fee. They have HOA, but we don't. And they, go by their restrictions and what they set up for them. So I'm just saying that I don't think it would look, we're not opposed to as much fences as the material is going to be made of. That's all. That's my opinion. And I live country. And then one more thing, the lady next door, she's of Chinese descent, and she was over at the house today. She never got notified. They don't have to send a letter out to your next door neighbor anymore when you do variances?
So I have a question. Are they the original builder of the home?
The one next door?
No. Them. And did you sign those covenants when you moved in?
Yes, I'm the original owner.
No.
Them? No.
Correct. So they didn't agree to the covenants because they didn't have to sign.
Okay. Their builder doesn't have to show them the covenants when they sign anything?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, just a point of clarification. Covenants that are recorded affect all subsequent owners. It doesn't matter if you're the original owner, the second owner, the third owner. You're still buying subject to the covenants. Now, I will also say, it's not this board's job to enforce the covenants of the subdivision. That's
Correct.
not the role of the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Correct.
It's not the fence itself, it's just the aesthetic look of it. Vinyl, and nobody has vinyl there except that one house on the very corner of Parish and 89th, and they're in a different subdivision. And I think, I haven't talked to anybody who would like a vinyl or a stockade fence. I know they have stockade fences behind, but that's to the east in Ventura, or in the other subdivision. So that's just my opinion, and opinion of most people in the subdivision who have lived there for 30 years. Thank you.
I don't oppose the material. We're looking to do what looks best. Best material, the highest quality material. I don't know if he's talking about putting an aluminum fence or a metal fence. Is that what you were saying? I'm not sure about that. I don't know how that would look compared to a high-end vinyl fence. That's maintenance-free. The height, I don't really care if it's 4 feet or 6 feet. That doesn't matter. We got 3 young babies under 2 years old, and we got a dog. We just want them to be safe and protected. There's cars coming down there all the time. My daughters are less than 2 years old. I just don't want them out there without a fence.
Anyone else have any?
And I just think it wouldn't look right going through our landscaping. That's the whole point. And I don't mind the 25 feet. We could work on that. The height too, I have no problem with that. Even the design, but if they're talking putting like an aluminum or metal fence, I don't think that'll look better than a vinyl fence. That's maintenance free. And, oh yeah, the list we got from you guys, so we did certify mail everyone that was on that list.
I can verify that I double checked everything that was provided to them on their assessor's list. They did properly notice and send all certified mail.
And no remonstrance letters?
No remonstrance letters were submitted or received, but if somebody does not sign for a certified mail, it's not gonna be delivered, or there's times that, for example, this is a different board, but a rezone that the town did, I was still getting green cards back, or the certified mails back, a month after we did the public hearing. So it just depends on if somebody's there to sign for it. What we're verifying is that they sent it when we're telling them they have to.
They were within the guidelines.
They were within the guidelines. We cannot control when the post office delivers.
Does anybody else have public comment?
Yes, I do. Mike Hintz, 9370 West 89th Avenue. I'm one of the original owners in that subdivision. I've been there 35 years. I have the original documents that we signed when we moved in. Clause 11 speaks to the fences, as Mr. Walls spoke to. It's a very safe neighborhood. We have large lots. This neighborhood put St. John on the map. We have large lots, no fences, tree restrictions. It's a very nice neighborhood. It shouldn't change. These are the laws that were put in place when we bought it. They should be maintained. Fences are not allowed.
Fences are allowed,
So
4 feet, right.
I just want you guys to hold up the laws that
So you
we,
guys understand, the
been up
point
to.
of this board is we don't enforce the covenant.
Right, nor does the town enforce covenants that were put into a neighborhood.
then who does enforce covenants?
That would be up to the HOA.
Or other owners in the subdivision.
Or other owners in the subdivision.
An owner in the subdivision has rights under the covenants, as would an HOA, to enforce those covenants.
But that's something you would have to do on your own legally, correct, Adam?
That's correct, yeah, that would be an action or initiation of an action by an owner. You'd have to retain your own legal counsel, but you would have rights under the covenants to enforce those covenants within the subdivision.
And there are other fences, there's a wooden fence right behind us.
Not in our subdivision. There's not. It's a little chopped up in our neighborhood, it's
Like I
Valley
said,
View,
I
you know?
live in the area.
So I just want to be known that it's been this way for 35 years. We haven't had problems. It's a safe neighborhood. All of our kids,
I can,
all of our kids have grown up there with no fences, and everybody's been safe and fine. A lot of our neighbors have dogs. They keep them on leashes. It's been safe and
The
fine.
neighbor's dog ran over to our house.
All right,
You
Mr.
guys
Chairman,
listen.
So-
I'm going to ask the persons in the audience, including the applicants, to allow the presentation or remonstrance without interruption. If that's, I'm going to remind the chair, everything should be directed to the chair, one at a time.
Just like to be known that the people of the neighborhood would like for it to maintain the way it was originally set forth to be. And we would like everybody that moves in to hold up to the covenants that we've all agreed to over the years. So thank you for recognizing me.
Anybody else have any public comment?
I'm also one of the original owners.
State your name
Oh,
and your address, please.
Jeff Shane, 9340 West 89th Avenue. I'm also one of the original, actually, second one built in there. The developer that lived in there had a plan for the neighborhood, and the plan was, the reason why he didn't want fences, he wanted the neighbors all to get to know each other, be friendly, and that's what it's been since we've lived there. Our kids have played, they'll run down our whole block there. Our kids or any other kids when they were little, and we did deal with the kids in the street. We did, promise me. I have the exact same concerns you guys do. We did deal with that. It was a very big concern of ours. But basically what I'm trying to say is we bought into that. We have a very tight-knit, close neighborhood, and that was the developer's idea. He wanted to get the neighbors to know each other. We know every neighbor in there. I mean, welcome to the neighborhood. I mean, I know this isn't the best start, but welcome to the neighborhood. But that's my concern. You know, we sit out in the back, you can look all the way down the neighborhood. Neighbors down, wave to them, you go down there. It's just a lifestyle that we're used to living to, okay? It was in the covenants with the fences and all that in there, and it has been abided by, and I would not like to see it change. I mean, the one thing you're talking about putting a nice steel fencing over there, that's somewhat better. It is, but it still kind of changes things. It's like, we're afraid of what does this open the door up till the next step. Okay, that's our big concern. Not that nobody's out to get you. I think you'll find out very friendly people in the
But
neighborhood.
you have to understand, accidents only need to happen once,
I understand that.
just one time.
And
I'm
I'm
saying
with your
my daughter gets
concern.
hit one time, it doesn't matter that 30 years prior.
I
nothing
I have
happened.
grandkids,
You
and
know
my
what I mean?
grandkids live.
For
on-
record-keeping purposes.
You guys need to,
Okay, that's,
I'm
okay.
gonna,
Okay, but that's,
You guys
that's,
can't
as a
follow
resident,
instructions.
that someone that's lived there, I'd like to see what was originally planned for the neighborhood to stay that way and not to change, and just to go by what they have.
as we stated before, we do not enforce.
I understand that, okay. So, I mean, that's basically, I mean, you know what, here's the thing, you know, that's like crazy. Now, whether it would go to a level like that, I'd hate to see anybody spend all kind of money, and what if you do take it to court? Then they gotta, that's legal fees for people taking them. You put up a $10,000 fence, and they tell you, you gotta tear this fence down because it's not there. I don't wanna see that happen. I don't wanna, the ugliness, I don't wanna see anything like that happen, so. That's just my point of view. I lived there all my life, or my kids have, and they're grown now. But that's how it was when we moved in there. It seemed to be a great idea, and it did seem to bring the neighbors very close. So that's just my point, so.
Anybody else for public comment?
Hi, Shelley Hintz, 9370 West 89th Avenue. I'm also an original owner from the beginning of the subdivision. Buying a corner lot, which they just recently did, from my understanding, when they received all their paperwork, they should have received with the deed all the covenants, which on covenant number 11 indicates no greater than 4 feet of height may be constructed around the side or rear yards of any lot in a subdivision. A greater height may be allowed if the same is required by ordinance or statutes around swimming pools. Fencing for swimming pools shall be erected so as to encompass the pool area only and shall not intrude on any easement located adjacent to the homeowner's property. In any and all events, stockade-type fences are prohibited from use anywhere in the subdivision. Fences of any type of structure, whether permanent or temporary in nature, are prohibited in or upon that area designated on the plat as drainage and utility easement. And I'm going to provide you this copy for your record.
As we stated, our job is not to uphold your subdivision covenant.
So covenants is, they should have received it. They know they know they bought a corner lot that didn't have this fence. So now they're asking to make it private or put a fence to hide out the road, the people walking, so forth. And I understand that. I mean, is the people right behind them, they pretty much did it with arborvitae trees, and they put inside a wired fencing, and that's in Lancers, that's right behind them. My point is that if you allow them to have this rechange of zoning to allow them to make the fence and put the fence up, what is going to happen to all the other neighbors? Are we going to now have row after row and row of fences going through the whole subdivision where we originally were not to have any fences with other things? So I want to guarantee with approval, if they get this fence approval for this ordinance to do this, I want that to be specifically for that yard and not anyone other that's in far in between.
That's not something we can do.
This variance is only for that lot. However, if anybody else in the subdivision came for a fence permit, the town would issue a permit for a fence at any home in the subdivision because, again, we don't enforce covenants. So.
But you have several homeowners here saying.
Right, but our zoning.
They need our approval. That's part of that.
But our zoning ordinance allows any residential lot to have a fence.
Our
The only
co-
reason
but our
they're before you
The deed is a
today.
little bit over control.
You don't.
But they still, even without the HOA, they need
Ma'am,
majority
ma'am.
approval of us.
The town of St. John does not uphold covenants for your subdivision. That is not the purpose of this board, nor is that what we do. And what he is trying to explain to you is the only reason they're here is because they live on a corner lot.
And they want to cross the building line. So
what-
if they would have come straight off the back of their house, we would have already issued the permit for the fence.
So there's
It
no
wouldn't even
reason to
be-
even have the covenants at all, that we've been,
That's why that it's that important to uphold it, there should be an HOA. Otherwise, if you want to enforce that, the residents of that neighborhood have to legally take action to enforce those covenants. That is nothing the town can do, that is your.
well, this is basically then, we should expect vinyl fences, 7 foot between every single neighbor that's gonna end
Well,
up
the
happening.
town of St. John zoning ordinance has a maximum height of 6 feet.
That's pretty sad. It was a beautiful area with lots of openness and everything, and they've just put one in right on the other on Parish, but it's not our subdivision.
Like-
It's gonna just start happening, it's
If he
gonna
didn't live
turn
on
into.
a corner lot, he could have already constructed the fence without being here at this meeting.
That's really interesting. I'm sorry to hear that, because we were always told, I had some other issues with the town years ago, and it was always that if it's deeded with the lot, they have to follow those rules.
Mr. Decker, can you elaborate on any of this?
I think I have. I mean, I think you're absolutely correct in your comments about the restrictive covenants that I presume have been recorded. Once they're recorded, they apply to all of the property, which are the subject of those covenants, assuming the subdivision are all subject, they remain subject to the covenants. It's not the town of St. John's authority or responsibility to enforce those covenants. Covenants may be enforced by a homeowners association or by individual owners who feel aggrieved by the actions of other owners that are subject to the same restrictive covenants and can take action to enforce those covenants. That's not the job of the town of St. John or the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Okay. At this time, I'm gonna close the floor to public comment.
Can I just say one thing? Can I come up and say?
Go into the podium.
We're not looking to have problems with our neighbors. We want to work with them. The 7 foot she's talking about is 6 foot. We could even go 4 foot. I did hear a lot of exaggerations with not much proof behind what they were saying. You know what I mean? But we don't want problems with them. Whatever kind of fence they want us to put up, we'll do it. We just want our dog to be off leash and our kids to play in the yard. That's it. I mean, they want to keep their memories from 35 years ago. I get it, but times change. This isn't 35 years ago. You know, the other night, there's like a Tesla flying through there, going from 0 to 60 probably in like 2 seconds. It was like 10:30 at night when I'm walking my dog. And the Asian lady you're talking about, she had her dog off leash the other day. You see what I'm saying? It's like, these are the things I'm talking about. We're not here to argue with you guys or fight with you guys. We really want to work with you guys and be
Mr.
neighborly.
Petropolis, let's keep the comments this way.
But you know what I'm saying? We want to be neighborly. So if they don't want a 6 foot fence, we'll work with them. We
And
have no
what's before
problem
the
doing
board
that.
tonight does not determine your material or height of your fence. This is just to allow
Placement
you
of the fence, that is.
Right.
to be closer to.
But we also don't want to be those neighbors too, and we would be willing to work with our neighbors on what designs they would want to see there or do there. But we do want to keep our dog off leash, and we do want our kids to play in the yard.
Unfortunately, a lot of this conversation is geared toward nothing that is gonna get resolved at this meeting, because it's not what it's about, so.
I mean, I have no
At this
problem
time,
giving
I'm
them
gonna
my
close
number
the
and
floor to
and
public
working with my
comment.
neighbors. I have no problem doing that.
All right, now, in regards to placement of the fence, is what they are asking for
Yeah.
variance for. As far as the placement of the fence goes, I do not see any safety concerns.
No, I think they can go 10 foot off the walk and be fine with the arborvitaes that are behind, in the lot behind them.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah, so if they follow the sidewalk and then
There's
jump
no
out.
issue with the placement of the fence that they are requesting. So,
From a safety perspective, no, we did not.
And it's a 3-way stop at that intersection, so there won't be really a line of sight issue because you'll be at the stop sign looking left into Lancer Estates for cars coming, so.
all right.
All right.
let's-
I'll make a motion to approve the developmental variance for 8991 Willow Lane. Approval will not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, comfort, or general welfare of the community. The use and value of the area and adjacent property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner, and that the strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will result in practical difficulties in the use of the property. I'll place the following condition, that the sidewalk, or the fence shall be a minimum of 10 feet behind the city walk on the 90th Street side of the home.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second for the approval of the variance. Everyone in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. All right, we're gonna move on to B. 2025-10, developmental variance, request to vary from STJMC 24-468. Applicant is asking for 23 outdoor storage units on property located at 9550 Hart Street, St. John, Indiana. John and Pam Groen are the applicants. Pam Groen is the agent, DVG is a surveyor/engineer.
Hello,
Hello.
I'm Pam.
I'm John.
Hello, Pam.
9550 Hart
girls.
Street, American Storage.
9550.
So they are here seeking a variance for a total of 23 outdoor storage lots. This is that outdoor storage facility that's being built off of Hart Street and Joliet.
Is that connecting to the existing storage units that are already there?
Yes. So
I use
brief,
those storage units, that's.
a brief history that was presented to the Plan Commission at their study session last month. When the storage facility initially came through the Plan Commission, the original applicant slash petitioner at the time owned the storage facility up off of 77th and Cherville and wasn't going to have any type of outdoor storage. He then sold the property to the Groans when they started doing outdoor storage without knowing that you needed all these steps before you could do it. So they have since been working with the town to get everything into compliance. One of the steps is to get variance for outdoor storage because we don't allow for outdoor storage without a variance in the town. So this is what they're seeking, is a total of 23. This would be in front up towards here. The rest of it would be along this line here.
So it's neighboring the tracks pretty much.
Yes, it would all be along that railroad track here. So it'd be behind.
Helps get boats and campers away from homes and storage.
And to meet that demand.
Okay. Well, then if you two don't have anything else to add, I'm gonna open the floor to public comment. I'm gonna close the floor to.
Oh.
I do have.
On where I own a property across.
Please.
All right, come up to.
I own a property across the street, but you probably know there's a swamp over there across from on Hart Street. I want to know why this land keeps getting, their water keeps getting dumped onto my property from this land. They're going to be putting more buildings on there, more water is going to be coming onto my property. Used to be a ditch, used to run along Hart Street, used to go to the creek. They took out the ditch, they put in a culvert underneath the road onto my property. I want to know why all this is going on, and who's doing it, and why am I getting dumped on with all this water?
We are at a BZA, that is not something that we can comment.
That would have been something that would have been done during the engineering of the subdivision. And
Well, why now am I getting more buildings put in there, which will take up more of the ground, and more water will be coming onto my property?
They're approved for 14 buildings total through the site plan that was done in 21. I believe it was 2021, 2022 through the Plan Commission, and it was done. It was engineered and reviewed by the town's engineering consulting firm that we consult with. Back when the subdivision
plans were approved before building.
drainage and stormwater runoff and all that was all reviewed and looked at and approved by the Plan Commission back when the original developer took this through. This is just asking.
So my land's just a toilet for the town, or what? Is that what it is?
I was not with the town when
It's looking like it, doesn't it?
I can't.
The water just comes right off of their land into this, they built a swale right to the sewer, to the culvert, goes right onto my property.
Have you been to the town to discuss this prior?
No, I'm now.
That is where you need to properly address this issue.
Do I see you? Are you part of that, or what?
In building and planning, if you come to, yeah.
Yeah, you need to go to building and planning, but the building and zoning board is not where that issue is gonna get resolved.
All right. I just wanted to voice my opinion, because that's not right. It's not right.
All right, at this time, I'm gonna close the floor to public comment.
Make a motion to approve.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I think, Mr. Bambick, because of the nature of the proceedings, that you should read from the findings required for finding a variance from the development standards. There are 3 items. I would recommend that be included as part of the motion.
Approval will not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, comfort, or general welfare of the community. The use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in substantially adverse manner, that the strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will result in practical difficulties in the use of the property.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. Everyone in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. All right, we're gonna move on to C, 2025-11, special exception, request to vary, STJMC 24-45 and STJMC 24-121. Applicant is seeking to install sports court concrete pad approximately 30 foot by 25 foot with an in-ground basketball hoop located at 12240 West 83rd Place. Todd Anderson is the applicant.
I do not see the applicant tonight, but I have spoken at length with them last year and then again this year. They are wanting to install a basketball hoop on a concrete pad to create a sports court for a better place for the kids to play basketball instead of on their driveway, which is a 7.1 degree slope, which is a pretty steep driveway. So that's the reason why they're asking for the special exception, which would be a recommendation to the town council, is so that instead of trying to install a basketball hoop here, where they'd be playing on that 7.1 slope of driveway, they would then be playing on a flat surface in their side yard.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I might also add, if the board's going to consider this without the applicant present, it's going to require a waiver of the rules. The rules on Article 4 require a petitioner, property owner, or agent to appear before the board for the case to be considered. If there's no one here, then the board's going to have to take an affirmative vote to...
Actually, sorry, nope, I remember. This is his father. He sent a POA for his father to be present on his behalf.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to be a remonstrator, so...
No,
Frank, Grandpa's pretty much in favor of it.
It's been a pretty hectic week. He did tell me he was going to be on vacation, and he signed a POA for his father to be present on
Very
his
good.
behalf.
They're
My
out.
apologies.
No waivers required, Mr. Chair.
They're out of town. And I proposed, I've taken his notes and tried to put something together that would indicate and I think cover everything that you would require in looking for. The importance of it is that they live on 83rd Street or Place, and that's a through street all the way from, I'm trying to think of what that one street is far down. It's, I don't know, some gone bird's name or something.
Heron Lake.
Goes to a cul-de-sac, am I correct?
It's a cul-de-sac one end, but it pops out to Patterson. You could get from Patterson to 41 by Taco Bell
Main
through there.
entrance into that neighborhood.
Yeah, and at school times, it's
Right.
everybody going out the back of the school.
It's a through street with no stop signs going that way. And it's heavily traveled motors are. And unfortunately, they tend to exceed the speed limit that's posted from that. So we're looking at it from a safety aspect from that. Neighbors have been notified through the rules and what have you been sent out. There's only 2 neighbors that have direct view of the court, if you want to call it a court. My son has spoken to them. I happen to know them myself. They're seniors, and they're both in favor of it for the fact of is that they enjoy watching the children outside playing since this height all the way up. Matter of fact, the court will not align with the front window of the street of the house across the street from them on 83rd. The house that's adjacent to the property where the court will be, it's got 13 feet from the edge of the court to that adjacent property owner's property. That gentleman has requested, if approved, that the pad be aligned in conjunction with the bedroom window. He's wheelchair bound, and he likes to watch and things like that. So It provides a safer thing. There's no near park that has a hoop. There's no, that would have to be taken to another location, have to be taken to the YMCA and driven and brought back. And oftentimes, those courts that they have are not available from that. And another reason is speaking of it, my grandson loves basketball. He plays for the Lake Central Basketball Club and is hoping to make the Grimmer Middle School 7th grade team and has a dream of one day playing for Lake Central, if you can understand that from youth. And what this really would help provide for him is an area for him to be able to hone his skills, improve his skills, and work on them to help him possibly achieve the goals that he has set from that point of view. There will be no lights, no floodlights. The court will be used from 7 a.m. to dusk if it's going to be used, when it's going to be used. It will not affect anything to do with that. It doesn't seem to be too much difference than, apparently there are other properties throughout town or in that subdivision that have patio block courts with an in-ground basketball hoop. And this doesn't seem to be any difference than that. Matter of fact, the concrete provides a better and a safer surface which to play on.
Do we have any remonstrance letters?
Nothing was received opposing this or in favor.
Yeah, do I know?
All right, sir, at this time, I'm going to open the floor to public comment.
All right.
I don't think we have any public comment, so I'm going to close it at this time. I don't have any other questions.
No. I'll make a motion to send a favorable recommendation to the town council to allow for the special exception at 12240 West 83rd Place. The establishment, maintenance, or operation of the special exception will not be detrimental to or endanger public health, safety, morals, comfort, or general welfare. The special exception will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for the purposes already permitted, nor substantially diminish and impair the property value within the neighborhood. The establishment of the special exception will not impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of the surrounding property for uses permitted in the district. Adequate measures will be taken to provide ingress and egress so as designed to minimize traffic congestion in the public streets, and that adequate utilities, access roads, drainage, and/or necessary facilities will be provided. That adequate measures will be, in all other aspects, conform to the applicable regulations of the zoning district in which it is located, and that the special exception shall be required to comply with reasonable time limitations on the commencement and during the special exception, as well as holder of rights to same.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Everyone in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right, this time we'll move to item 6, new and old business.
I don't believe I have anything tonight.
Okay. Item 7, any other public comment?
You're good.
Thank you.
No public comment. At this time, I will adjourn June 4th meeting.
So moved.